guys. Welcome to Tutor Sisters channel. Please subscribe to our channel to help us grow.
For today's video, we will talk about 4 levels of Ballad of the Landlord by Langston Hughes. Now, without any delay, let's get right into it, starting with literal comprehension. Ballad of the Landlord is a protest poem written by Langston Hughes during the Harlem Renaissance. The poem is an imaginary dialogue between a black tenant and a white landlord. The tenant asks the landlord a rhetorical question. He asks if the landlord does not remember when he, the tenant, told him about the issue of leaking roof. Moreover, he asks a satirical question stating why the landlord does not fall off the broken stairs. The landlord tells the tenant that his $10 rent is due. The black tenant agrees to pay $10 more if he had his roof repaired. The tenant imagines a conversation with the landlord in which the landlord threatens to give him eviction order, throw his furniture, and cut off the heat. Now, the tenant gets furious at this supremacist attitude of the landlord and threatens to punch him. The landlord exaggerates this threat and calls the police to tell them that his tenant was trying to go against the government and revolutionize the land. Then, coppers whistle, patrol bell, etc. are heard, and the headlines in the newspaper say, "Tenant held no bell, man threatens the landlord," and "Black tenant given 90 days in jail." Now, moving towards the second part of our 4 levels, that is interpretation. The poem was written during Harlem Renaissance. It depicts the pitiful situation of blacks during that period. The tenant simply wanted his roof repaired, but he was accused of many crimes. Moreover, the text hints at the bitter reality of society in which law and order are controlled by those in power. The police arrest the tenant without any proof and simply on the account of a white landlord's complaint. The tone of the poem is anger, aggravation, and urgency. The situation of the roof is the representation of the condition of blacks. It required quick repair and amendments. The poem depicts the prejudice of the society and delineates the behavior of white supremacists towards the black. The poem also shows the biased opinion of the media. The newspaper headline presents the tenant as culprit, but in reality he was the victim. Now, moving towards critical thinking, the poem Ballad of the Landlord is an excellent poem created during such a period of racial injustice. It presents the unfair situation of the blacks due to societal prejudice. The title of the poem is ironic because as we read the poem, we find that the actual victim is the tenant. Furthermore, the use of dialogues and Black English vernacular make the poem more realistic and lifelike. I also admire the way the writer has preserved the secret of the tenant's race until the very end. However, there are certain details that I find equivocal. The poem is a one-way interpretation because it does not present the feeling of the landlord. Moreover, the accusations of the landlord are a bit exaggerative. How could the police simply believe that the tenant was trying to revolutionize against the country? Also, how was the black tenant directly sentenced to imprisonment? Weren't there any organizations trying to protect and help the blacks? I admire the way the poet has been able to portray the sad situation of a society through his poem. Assimilation. After reading this poem, I received the insight about the scornful behavior of the people in power. I also understood the difficulties and hardship that the black had to face during that period. The poem awared me about the reality of media and police and how they are regulated by the people with power. It reminded me of a similar essay, The Library Card by Richard Wright. The writer, Richard, was a black person who was not allowed to read because of his race. The text presents the difficulties created due to segregation of society into races and classes.
If you liked this video, please share it with your friends. Make sure you hit the like button and subscribe to this channel for more videos like this.